Oh, whoa, whoa.
This is JJ Solomon.
This Corey Bradshaw, Mr. RTBA, Mr. These boys can't touch me on my worst day. And this is the Spit Bucket Podcast. It's your boy, Mr. RTBA, Mr. 214, Senor Dos Uno Cuatro, Senor Dos Catorce, Mr. Undeniable, Mr. These boys can't touch me. On my worst day, I'm right here with my partner in crime, my brother from another, Mr. JJ Solomon. What's popping, my guy?
What's popping, bro? It's a special Sunday afternoon episode of the Spit Bucket Podcast because we're kicking off Fight Week. Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia Fight Week. And, man, we got the best guests to kick it off with, Corey. Tell them who we got here.
Oh, man, one of the legends, bro, one of the all-time greats. When you talk about this guy, Bernard Hopkins, he is the epitome of what the sport of boxing, and not just the sport of boxing, just life in general, you should be about. We talk about this dude with the longest title defense reign, Mr. Undisputed. There's so much accolades about this guy. And also, one thing people don't mention about this guy, not only did he win Fighter of the Year, but he also won Manager of the Year in the same year. When I tell you it's an honor and a pleasure and a big dog salute to welcome the alien, the executioner, the biggest instigator in boxing, Mr. Bernard Hopkins.
What's up, brother?
Popping, my guy.
What's up, y'all?
It's instigation time, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We appreciate you joining us again, Mr. Hopkins.
Absolutely. Just one second. I didn't miss the bucket.
You never miss it.
It was a good one, but I didn't miss it.
Hey, Bernard.
Let's dive into it.
We coming up on the biggest fight since Mayweather versus Pacquiao. This fight right here is huge with Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. With you being a part owner of Golden Boy, and we know you backing Ryan Garcia to the fullest. Tell me about this fight week and the build up to this fight.
Well, both fighters been confident of what they believe they're gonna do, and they letting everyone know. I've seen the interviews. Of course, y'all seen the interviews. The public is viewing the in between the fights, the training camps, and it's a lot being said, but it's tapering off now. And I think that both fighters at this level, the super level of proving what you've been talking about and what got you here to this big super fight is now it's coming to fruition. Don't listen to none of them when they say they don't have butterflies. Even the greats would tell you that, but they have a way of navigating past that where it don't affect them mentally and physically. That's going to be in the days to come, which means hours to come, 48 hours, I'll say. So, by Thursday, Friday, you're going to start, seeing a little bit more of quietness and more of going through the recipe of showing improvement, and that becomes really clear come Saturday. But this is one of those minutes. You mentioned Floyd Pacquiao. I can mention De La Hoya and Chavez Sr. I can mention De La Hoya and Pernell Whitaker. I can mention myself rather, with a big fight with Trinidad, and when you start talking about super fights, and there's many more, of course, and hopefully be many more to come. This is something special. Here I'm in Florida, and people are talking about it here in Florida. Of course, they're talking about it in Philadelphia and other places, but and it's really split as far as a lot of people like, Bernard, I know you're going with Ryan because that you promote him, but I'm going with Tank because of this, because of that. And mainly is this power. People talk about the power with Tank bringing. And no disrespect anything, because I'm being straight up. I'm not hearing anything else but the power. So now you got the power in 12 rounds, 30 plus minutes of boxing. You got the power versus the what? The IQ of Ryan Garcia, which has more than just a good punch, a good power punch, left hook or right hand. They say left hook. I say he got really multiple skills added to the left hook that stands out, because what? He knocked a few people out. Yep. And I'm being modest about that with the left hook. But I think that when you look at it, it's going to be one of those fights where people still going to be down the middle all the way up to the last betting odds of this fight.
Well, man, we're excited about it. It's been talked about for a long, long time. We kept getting hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. I don't know if this was a big hurdle, but the last big drama piece we kept hearing about it was the rehydration clause. What was your position on it? Were you just in a position where whatever it takes to get it done, or what was your take on the rehydration piece?
No, it wasn't for me. My perspective, I'm not in there fighting. I know how my body is, so it wasn't my. I would say my statement have been, and I'm gonna repeat it. It wasn't whatever he wants, get it. It was more of, I want to get this fight done from Ryan Garcia, and I know what I'm comfortable at this weight, at that weight, whether it's a rehydration being talked about and settled on this particular rehydration weight after you weigh in or prior to accepting this fight. Ryan Garcia and his team know where they're comfortable at. But one person out of that Ryan Garcia team that know where he's comfortable at, because he the one is going to be in that ring. He the one that boxed and fought since his childhood. Know how he feels, not just mentally, but his physical body. And that, to me, gave me confidence to say that if they willing to waive or willing to look at that as a big, big, big plus for Tank Davis, then they're making a big, big mistake. And I'm saying this where people can hear it before they see it, where they won't try to use that as an excuse that Ryan still came out victorious based on this big hoopla about a dehydration or rehydration clause or anything that to do with, whether he can gain XYZ weight or not. These are the things that is distraction as far as I'm concerned. But I don't think Ryan Garcia looked at it as something that because he wouldn't have never done it, couldn't handle. He know his body more than we all do.
Okay, Bernard, I have two questions for you. The first one, real brief. We know, I heard that Tank Davis has a rematch clause if Ryan Garcia is successful. Do Ryan Garcia have a rematch clause if Tank is successful?
No.
Okay. Second question.
Easy.
I'm glad you spoke about IQ at first, because a lot of that don't get talked about in Ryan Garcia. With him having over 200 plus amateur fights, him being able to do what he have did thus far in his pro career, I feel that a lot of people discredit a lot of the other attributes that Ryan Garcia brings to the table. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts is that they can keep believing that we have a one-trail pony and he don't know how to do anything else, or Ryan Garcia don't know how to do anything else. But let me tell you something that, I think anybody that have any knowledge of the sweet science of boxing, they will understand right away that Ryan Garcia, just by his whole persona, just the way he operates, and this ain't no hype or promoting, you have to have a clear, non-biased view of what you're looking at and study what you're looking at. You ain't got to be an expert, and see that you see raw talent there that, you know, come around every now and then in generation of boxing. Do you see that talent in Tank Davis? Absolutely. So when those two collide, it's who won it the most. Sometimes it ain't even about the talent. It's about who won it the most. And that's going to play out like it played out in many fights. It's going to play out in this one also. Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hearns, the greatest 3 rounds in boxing, because it only went 3 rounds. Marvin Hagler got hurt in that fight. It made him more dangerous. So to me, when you look at these attributes of these two fighters, I look at one that has much more than the other guy. But Tank didn't need to learn anything else because he's undefeated, obviously, and he got to where he's at based on doing what?
Power.
What he's been doing. He can be losing the first 6 rounds. We've seen him lose until that hammer dropped down, and I said hammer, and it stopped it. You've seen him come from behind, correct?
Correct.
Absolutely.
And shut the lights out. That mentality, that talent, always dangerous until it's over. Ryan knows that. The other opponents and the victims of that mentality, I call them victims, they didn't know it. And if they did know it, they wasn't aware of it. Every second, minute of each round, you have to be aware. Not scared, not paranoid, not gun shy, but you have to be aware that if you're too greedy and your hand gets stuck in that cookie jar, then you will be a victim.
Look, man, I agree with you. And again, I'm just excited. I get giddy talking about this fight because it's finally here. And honestly, man, there's a lot of uncertainty going on into this fight. Neither one of these guys have had that one defining moment in their career where we know how they're going to respond to these moments. But my question to you is, you see little things like the rehydration clause. And then even this week, Tank Davis made mention that he's not inviting his mama to the fight. He's not having his kids there because he said it's a 50-50 fight. What do you make of that? I don't think any of these guys are scared of each other. I don't like using that word, but do you think there's some concern there? Because, you know, you keep hearing that he fought Mario Barrios and he didn't have no weight clause in. Is there a concern there? What are your thoughts on the mindset of Tank Davis up to this point?
About the family?
The family, the rehydration clause, and he didn't make Mario. I mean, we didn't hear anything about Mario.
I got what you said. Well, it's 2 or 3 things you said in there, right? I don't know why, other than him not wanting them there, which is it's a good question to ask someone based on, I believe they was there every other fight, right? At least every other fight that matters, correct?
Mama's always been there.
And of course,
that's correct.
Again, I'm respectful of anybody's family. But for this one, should be no question why they won't be there for this one. I mean, this is the one. This is the one. And I mean, how do you look at that? How do you comment on that? Yeah. Because I can't even I don't think it's a negative thing. I don't think is for me. I would want any of my siblings or anybody that support me and have been supporting me from day one, especially somebody that that came out. Of course, I would want them there, but it could be other reasons, man. It could be the reasons on the end. I mean, let's think about it. It could be reasons on a lot of ends, but that don't mean that they don't have a big screen TV somewhere. Hold up. Or somewhere watching close by in Las Vegas. So let's not think that just because that was said, that that's going to actually be true, because until come Saturday and the queen that gave birth to Tank Davis is not there based on vision and seeing, then you can be like, well, she didn't come. But that don't mean she's not going to be supporting him. That don't mean she ain't going to be close by, which is in Vegas. I believe it's Tank choice. I don't know for sure. I believe it's the family choice. And I say it doesn't matter physically, doesn't matter outside of what they got to do in the ring, because everybody that shows up, they come in there as spectators. No one can help no one in there except your corner, and they are limited.
Yep.
Only person can help yourself in that square circle. That's what makes sweet science of boxing the best sport in all sports, is because you got to handle your own business, and you can't even leave it up to the referee to save you. These are the things that, to me, put boxing way up top of any other sport, because at the end of the day, as they say, mano a mano, you got to lock in horns, man, like two rams.
Yep.
And you gotta handle your business. And mommy can't save you, daddy can't save you, auntie can't save you, uncle can't save you, nieces, nephews, they can holler and scream. They might throw a shoe if it get really crazy.
Yep.
And hopefully ain't a red bottom or a blue bottom or a black bottom or a knockoff. They're gonna throw it back at you and tell you that they gotta keep fighting. And these are the things that separates, as far as I'm concerned, from any other sport in the world. Not just here in America, in the world.
Bingo.
Bernard, let's talk about adversity. You've been through adversity. A lot of other great fighters like you been through adversity. I heard Ryan Garcia speak on how he went through adversity with Luke Campbell and how he came back from that adversity and knocked Luke Campbell out. So this is my question to you. We never seen Tank Davis go through adversity. And Ryan spoke on how, Tank, when I hit you and I hurt you, how are you going to react to that adversity? So with us not seeing Tank go through any adversity, if he go through adversity, what do you think that moment will be like, as Ryan spoke on it?
I think that Tank have went through adversity in the ring, but it wasn't in the spotlight ring. It was in sparring. Listen, he right down the street from 95, which is called, Baltimore, Maryland. Mm-hmm. And listen, I'm not going to act like they don't be getting it in. They get it in down there. That's 45 minutes, less than an hour from Philadelphia. So the connection as far as the good work, which is sparring, and the IQ of the knowledge that come up and down the quote unquote tri-state. Let me tell you something. I believe that he can handle what comes his way. He just been so dominant, even when he got hit, because I don't think, and listen, I know, take the word think out. Tank doesn't have the greatest defense. He's more offense than a defense guy. But he gets to the point as rounds go on, he walks you down and steamroll you. Why do you think they call him Tank? Because he ain't gonna roll you over real fast. Gotta get warmed up. You had a old car, you gotta let the car kind of like sit for a minute. They said let the juices get the flowing through the system. You understand? Go through a process. Tank has to go through a process. You didn't ask, but I gotta say, Ken Ryan, and we'll see, Ken Ryan offset those processes where he has to either start faster than he ever did, Tank that is, or he has to be in a dilemma where it's like, hold up, I got to figure this out for the first time at this level right now. I want to see that IQ I mentioned a half hour ago kick in. See, a fan they should know about this stuff that I'm talking about because they don't know the experience. Because I am biased, because I understand that I've been there, done it, and that's going to be the key points that I see. That's going to be a box that's not checked off yet until he either accomplishes it or he fails with it. And so, to me, can he handle those things, even though we haven't seen it on a worldwide stage in his 20-plus wins? No. He haven't had that adversity. I believe he will have it Saturday. And that will be a question that is going to be answered in the moment. That's some scary shit. Because if he don't handle it like most expect him to handle it, then we'll be like, oh, we found the crack in the armor. We found the window. And that's when the game is changed. And you can't run and take your bets back. You can't run and try. No, one thing for sure. Once that hour shuts down and the gate shut up, you can't run back and run the third or fourth, fifth round and start looking at it. And again, these are early rounds. They're not even I'm just saying third or fourth. When you see something unusual, and you can't really look at it for the first 5 rounds. Just look at the first 5 rounds. That Tank ain't gonna start off fast. I guarantee you, even if he see this interview or anybody else, which I believe they are listening, he's not going to be able to start fast and finish the way he's been finishing fast. He has to start the way he had to start because of what? Because not his condition, is because he has to work to get down to the weight that he bowed Ryan Garcia to be locked into that rehydration and all that. So he know that he got to cruise for a reason. With the guys, then this ain't the giving up game. So let me educate everybody that's watching this. And I'm not talking about the 2 guys that is on the Zoom call. Let me educate the people that's going to see this live. When a guy has talent and he's been known to show it later, you get him earlier. You get him before he load his gun. And you make him pick his feet up. You make him be active early. Why? Because if you got a good defense and you worked on the things of keeping your head out of the hole like a golf ball, and you take him into a fast pace early, and you see if that Tank try to speed up where a Tank ain't running, it ain't gonna speed up like a Porsche. So you force that Tank to be quick early. You force him to step on that now, like it's the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th round, like or even the 8th, or the 9th or the 10th. You make him step that game up early, like he normally do in the rounds they call championship rounds. So you start those things early. You let him shoot his load. You let him, and he got, and whether he hit us or not, he got to understand he's not going to let you sit there and win the first 6, 7 rounds, knowing that you can go ahead and bluff and tuck and win the close rounds.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a situation. Tank automatically believe he needs a knockout in this fight.
And with that being said, and talking some X's and O's, man, I was on Twitter yesterday talking about tendencies and weaknesses, and we've seen that Ryan has a tendency of leaving that chin out. That's the one thing that scares me in this fight about Ryan. So and that's not a secret. Anybody who watches the sport and loves it can watch it. From your perspective, from Oscar's perspective, do y'all go and tap him on the shoulder for a big fight like this and say, hey, let's work on that this camp? Or do you guys just let them work on what they're doing? I guess I'm asking you.
I know what I got what you're saying clear. Yeah. I'm gonna speak for me. Oscar can speak for himself. And I'm pretty sure he said it in his own way, that what I've said, you gotta always keep that here. And it's a habit all the way from the amateurs. Our habits, hard to break.
That's exactly right.
It's a yes to that without a no. He has to understand, Ryan, that this is not the fight that you admire your work. Let me say that again.
Say it.
This is not the fight where you need to admire your work. What I mean is, you hitting and you looking, that's what that means. I was taught by Bowie Fisher, Slim Jim Robinson, Georgie Benton, all the Philly greats, and there's a few more, but I ain't gonna run the names down. I just ran 3 greats down. That's called admiring your work. You looking at what you're doing because you're getting the best of what you're doing now. And the fighter that you getting the best, he don't have to even be paying attention. And when your chin is up, he's gonna hit your neck, your top of your head, because you like this, admiring your work. Look what I'm doing to you. And crap. Here, you can do the same thing. Ryan has been told that not only by his trainers, not only by Goosen, they've been going over things that's no secret. All you got to do is go by your previous fights and other fights from the past, other fights in this time of era we live in, and watch how other fighters paid for those same mistakes that could become crucial, if not detrimental, to what happens later in the fight. Ryan stayed disciplined, even when he's getting it best, because it's going to be rounds early on when he's like, then everybody gonna be waiting for, well, he don't really start picking it up till like the 4th, 5th round. You gotta keep that same energy when things are great, when you out punching them, out speeding them, and literally making him miss with 1 or 2, 3 wild punches, just trying to get his rhythm, just trying to touch your body, because he's going for the body. That's what he got to get warmed up. He got to hit the body and get warmed up, and then he figure he can move upstairs. Ryan cannot afford to be greedy. You got to understand you can come back, let it digest, and then eat the food again. Let it process. Let the food process. Look, I know y'all getting hungry, but you got to let the food process.
Yeah, I like that.
And then that's not being greedy. That's letting the food go through the system. That's letting the skills go through the system. The greedy thing is the patience going to have to be, and the discipline going to be when it looks so easy, when it's been promoted so hard to accomplish. Because Tank is not a difficult person to hit. He wants you to get comfortable. He wants you to get relaxed.
Look at the Rolly fight.
He wants you to become greedy. He wants you to become to the point where you're like, this ain't all that. He wants you to be that way. But if you keep in your head, if Ryan keep in his head, or any other person that's fighting a guy of this magnitude has to understand that he only need to strike once. And you need to go through the patience of round by round by round by round until he's out, or you so far ahead on the scorecards where he has to be out of character and every punch he's throwing is a knockout punch. That's when you know you got him.
And
that's when the game is real dangerous still, but that's when you know it's a game changer, and the strategy and the mental that I got to get you now, and I'm reckless doing it. Now you just let him knock himself out. Now, how do you let him knock himself out? How do you let him knock himself out? He run into stuff that he don't care because he know he got to get to you by any means necessary. Without a conscience, that's when you let him knock himself out. Obviously, you be contributing to that physically, but let him do it to the point where he's reckless and he's taking stupid chances. because they're two different type of chances.
And that's exactly what I was gonna say. You know, it's a cliche to that with me. This is me making a statement. It's a cliche when people say Ryan Garcia keep his chin out there. Well, Tank do too, because we see him get hit a lot, and he ain't went up against nobody with the ferocious power as Ryan Garcia.
But I gotta correct you. Tank doesn't keep his head up. He just don't move it.
Yeah.
See, it's a difference. Tank doesn't keep his head up. Ryan is tall. Ryan fights tall, but he's not going to fight tall this fight. See, anybody don't know what fighting tall is? Yeah. Everybody said, Bernard, what the hell he's talking about? Ryan is a little taller than Tank. He's got to fight tall. Do he bend his knees to get him size? No, he'd be a fool if you do that. You use your size for your advantage. What I mean by fighting tall is fighting at a comfortable position where your knees are slightly bent, but not bent enough to meet up with the same short guy or the guy that's smaller than you and be on an equal of him. The reason you're tall because you're blessed. So you got to let him see that mass. You got to let him see that dominance. You got to let him reach up to you. If you ask me, Bernard, would you rather have a person reach up to you and fight you or a person that's on the same level of height to fight you? I'd rather have a person that reach up than be on the same level of size, height rather, and be on the same size. You know what I mean? But you still got to figure it out whether it is and whether that's the case or not. In this case, use what you have, Ryan and Tank, to your best advantage. Tank Davis doesn't box, do he? Tank doesn't box. Tank comes to you. I'm not saying he can't box, but I say Tank comes to you. He wears you out. He's fundamental sound. He's sound and he's methodical. He will break you down systematically. This fight here, he goes to the body. He goes to the body early, trying to
I can't wait.
Tries to bring Ryan down to his level. You beat the body, your hands go down. So you got to have Ryan Garcia comes down to his level. How do you do that? He's going to try to break him down.
Great analysis. That's why you is who you is. But this was my question for you. Ryan Garcia not getting the first shake. We're getting a rematch, which he signed up for. But my thing is, we done seen fighters sign up for a fight and have a rehydration clause or make weight and just say, forget that rehydration clause. I know it's all about being professional, Bernard. But if you're Ryan Garcia, do you think, hey, I'm going to come into this fight and be at my healthiest and just take that lick because I believe I'm really going to be that guy, beat that guy?
I think it's confidence, but I also think it's you knowing yourself and your skills. And I think that when you want this fight and you wanted this fight now, Ryan Garcia want this fight and didn't want this fight to become a soap opera conversation that goes on for years and years and years and never happened. Unfortunately, some great fights that we all can talk about that never happened. Everybody and even the fans got a list of fights that they wished would have happened in their time. And I know y'all have that list too.
You and James Toney?
Correct. and that's a fight, that I can't even guarantee you if I'd have been functional enough now to have an interview with you based on the trauma and the physical that they would have took out of me and him, win or lose. Those type fights was the fights that actually, I don't care if you win or lose the fight, it takes something out of you. The Ali and Frazier, man, come on. Because I know how I'm coming in there, and I know how James Toney coming in there. Hell, the damn press conference we'd have lost, I'd have had probably 3 stitches.
Hell yeah.
Can you imagine, not to get off the conversation that we're on, but again, you open that door up, can you imagine you could have sold tickets to the press conference of James Toney and Bernard Hopkins? Because I know for a fact I'd have went up there and smacked him and got everything started. Can you imagine coming in and smacking James Toney on top of his head and James Toney ain't going to do nothing to you?
We wouldn't have made it to the fight, bro.
James Toney, we had a great time at the Hall of Fame talking about it, but he's still talking about he would kick my butt. Fight never happened, but we made the magazine, Ring Magazine. I still got the cover of the book, and it's a fight that I got to at least talk about until I die. people always ask me, man, because we made the cover, the fight supposed to happen, and it didn't happen. That was a fight, win or lose. I know to shorten my career, how long I would win after that. And that's out of respect. That's not being patronism. That's saying because James Toney was that type of dude.
And not to stay too long off topic, but what fight? Like, you saw Tim Bradley versus Provodnikov where he took a beating, even though he walked away with a win. What fight? This is completely off topic, but what fight wore you out like that, where you felt it take years off your career, man? Can you think of one?
I'll say the ones I lost.
Yeah.
Not the physical. It's just more of the, it's two fights that I know to my heart. Don't talk about it. Don't make squall about it, because you can see what I've done after those two fights. The Jermaine Teller two fights. Those two fights with Jermaine Teller was really to be another podcast on it with y'all. But that was a whole political, a whole influencer by other people in big positions. And
what do you mean?
And let me tell you something. They thought that was all in. But listen how great this was. The two Jermaine Teller fights. One thing about boxing, they have short memories. Yeah, they talk about robbery, they talk about this, they talk about that. They try to make you feel good for 48 hours. After a while, people move on. Correct. I mean, you move on after a while. Like they be, man, you want to fight, man. That make you feel good, blah, 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 and then it's on to something else. Nobody has really time. And listen, I knew that early in my boxing career. That would make me loved by more and hated by most. So they got exposed though. Who's they, Bernard? The power brokers behind the scenes, the suits, they got exposed, right? The HBOs, the ones that was embedded with the HBOs, who either worked there, who did deals there, they got exposed. You know how they got exposed?
What's that?
When Jermaine Teller went before Kelly Pavick and got his ass kicked. And hold up, wait a minute. Okay. And then I got Kelly Pavick in Atlantic City and whooped his ass. Now, and he knocked out Jermaine Teller. So you don't remember that?
I remember that.
I remember you.
But nobody. But listen, I'm gonna save most of my good nuggets for my documentary. First, my book, and then it's gonna slam. And y'all are gonna be like, yo, I knew about that, but I didn't know the details of it. Y'all gonna be like, yo, you hid this from us, B. We thought you talked so much, you told us everything. And that means I fool y'all again. So let me tell you something again. Every time, and I predict this going forward in this second half or third of my life. Really this is the third chapter of my life, because it's the first one. It's the second one, and now it's the third one. Every time the powers to be behind closed doors and some past the door with the smile on your face, the game that they think that I'm done or we got him now, that's not in the ring. It's a different fight now. It's outside the ring. I always outsmart them and out chess move them. See, they thinking now, I'm thinking 4 moves ahead. See, not only am I anticipating a win, not an upset, come Saturday, but I'm also, for me personally, and how Ryan will be, I feel, the face of boxing. Yeah. Hold up. We'll be able to be able to be in a position like Oscar was in his time, Floyd was in his time, I was in my time. All these accolades and all these things will now fall into place of Ryan Garcia. And now Ryan Garcia will have a different responsibility that I'm pretty sure he'll embrace, like he embraced now, of being that, or being in that role, or looked at in that sense of the face of boxing. That's what we strive for, and that's what I teach and I tell. In with Kid Austin that we're going to talk about. I instill and I tell all of them, and some don't even have to be with us, go to work promotion. If they ask me and I feel that it ain't interfering with any business, I gotta let them know I just can't help myself. That's who I am. So these are the things that I look at when I'm being asked questions about, well, what about the 2 Jermaine Teller fights? And I know both of those fights I won, but I knew what was behind that energy of not winning. Split decision, the first fight, second fight, decision, whatever. Those 2 fights took so much out of Jermaine Teller. He hasn't been right since. Mm-hmm. And I hope the brother get his life together when he get out, because I heard that he was incarcerated, and I didn't know that till like the beginning of this year. All this time, I just really realized I didn't hear anything from Jermaine. How's he doing? And somebody from Arkansas told me, what happened. So my thing is this: those 2 fights, 24 rounds, correct?
Yep.
Took so much out of Jermaine Teller. They won the fight, but they didn't win the time. What I mean by that is the time going forward, what you do next. And when Kelly Pavlik, and most people believe the lie, because the hatred of me so much, and I use the word hate, and that's a strong word, and I don't back from that. I stand on it. They get him out of the way as any means necessary. Whether it's sloppy, and it was, I still got him at the end. I've been beating him so much. And to come out of this game and still can articulate and talk and handle my business and know what everything going around, even behind me, even on the side of me, even though that every now and then you got to always replenish yourself, like in your mind, and be like, in this business, everybody's lying, cheating motherfuckers until they prove to you otherwise.
Yeah.
Because that protects yourself. Hold up. If anybody know me, they know I go by that rule. Because to me, I'm not expecting anything from you. I'm expecting you to show me. And that don't necessarily have to be now. I'm looking when you know I'm not looking, or you think I'm not looking, or let time pass. So when time passes, comfortability sets in, relaxation steps in, small talk steps in, and all of a sudden you get a little bit sloppy. So now when the sloppiness exposes you, I don't have to expose myself to let you know that I understand who you are. And I can keep you around. No, seriously. I can keep you around like nothing ever happened, because I know that's torturing you. If you ever been around somebody that you know that they are so uncomfortable, but they don't even leave and they're not leaving, then that's torture. Because they be like, damn, do he really know? I don't think, he said something weird to me yesterday. Until they haul tail out of there, I'm going to keep them close, but not close enough to hurt me, but keep them to the point where that torture, they're tossing and churning, you don't sleep well, you eating everything that you see. It's just miserable. But that's the thing that I can reflect on as one of my biggest highlights of redemption. When Kelly Pavlik believed the lie, Top Rank believed the lie, boxing believed the lie, most of them, not the fans. And they threw Kelly Pavlik in there, thinking that Kelly Pavlik was going to do to me what was lied to everybody that watched that fight that Jermaine Teller didn't do to me. And I got exposed it in Atlantic City. Do y'all remember that fight?
I remember.
I was about to tell you. I watched both those fights one time, and I remember thinking both times. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I had a 7-5, and both fights look similar. Is that correct?
Correct.
Kind of
same script.
Yeah, same exact script. Yeah, so that's what I remember for those fights. I like Jermaine Taylor a lot, and this isn't me hating on Jermaine or me just saying this because you're here.
No, great. Listen, great athlete and great. I'm not gonna say great fighter. If you say great fighter because he won a undisputed championship, you don't. To me, that's not great. Great is it's the longevity of who you beat, who you beat, and how you beat. He fought Bernard Hopkins. He fought Kelly Pavlik, and anybody else you want to say, do that makes him great?
Yeah.
Would you say Jermaine Taylor a Hall of Famer?
I wouldn't know. And if somebody just looks at his resume and just sees your name on there without seeing that fight, again, I remember saying the worst case scenario on both these fights should have been a draw. But that's just kind of what I remember. I remember 7-5 both times for you. I don't know if he should be a Hall of Famer.
I definitely remember both of them fights, and you definitely won both of them fights. But let me ask you this, because my memory could be off a little bit. Was Jermaine Taylor getting promoted by Don King?
No, Lou DiBella.
Lou DiBella, okay. And who was promoting you at the time?
Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard Hopkins, okay. So when that happened, Bernard, you know, and like you were, like a lot of people, because you were brash, and I just.
But you have to remember, Golden Boy promotion, Bernard Hopkins. I mean, you know, that was that fight. I was with Golden Boy. Well,
yeah.
No, hold up. I wasn't with Golden Boy then. I was fighting, I believe the first fight I was. You got to look at it. I believe one of those fights was with Golden Boy, but I believe the first fight was promoted through Lou DiBella.
You know, my question to you, like, when fights like that happen, and you know you won both fights, I'm telling you, for a fighter mentally, that could break them. I done seen it happen to fighters. Like, this is why I give Anthony Joshua a lot of credit, right? You know, his loss against Andy Ruiz, it could have broken.
Yeah.
He came back and beat Andy Ruiz.
Yes.
I mean, his 2 losses, and he lost both of them clearly. No debating against Alexander Usyk. That could have mentally broken. People don't give his fight against Jermaine Franklin because that was a tough opponent. Anthony Joshua came back in there and handled his business, but losing 2 fights like that and knowing that you know you won them fights, that could have mentally broke you, Bernard, like seriously being undisputed. Like, tell me the days after that fight emotionally, what you were going through.
Yeah, those days wasn't easy because not only was those fights, I believe, taken from me, but I looked at it as this is how they want to bury me. Because let's look at it again. You know, where I'm always going to be a threat with the belt, without a belt, undisputed, not undisputed. I'm always be a threat. Who going to give me a shot right away to put me back in the quote unquote conversations of a fight to get me back where I was at? Jermaine Taylor fought Kelly Pavlik. I don't know if I didn't have that moment to understand he was trying to move past me after that Jermaine Taylor fight. That Jermaine Taylor fight, if Jermaine Taylor would have beat Kelly Pavlik, this conversation would be non and void. Yeah. Did that make sense? Mm-hmm. I had that to hold on to because I knew that they was going to call on me because they believed, I'm going to repeat it, they believed the lie that they thought they saw, but they only heard the votes of the judges. They gave a false strategy or false type of, I guess,
narrative,
encouragement or false type of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
That this is what happened, and let's move on real quickly before people start talking about it, having interviews about it, and these things got pushed under the rug real quick until they said, I want to put Bernard Hopkins to bed. Let's feed him to Kelly Pavlik. And HBO loved the fight. They seen what Kelly Pavlik did to Jermaine Teller, and even they was kind of, I guess, influenced by the bullshit, and they paid me a lot of money for it.
And plus, let's be honest, Kelly Pavlik was a white guy. And you know, he was a white guy, and in boxing and in this sport, white America sells, especially coming off that victory against Jermaine Taylor.
But you also got to understand too. I'm glad you said that. Now, Kelly Pavlik, and then you got to look at the whole thing. We need this guy to knock him out. The complexion fits the connection. It fits the whole scheme. Now, if this guy can go ahead and get him out, because we've seen Jermaine Teller. We know what Jermaine Teller didn't do. We know what the politics did. And we believe the lie. So we automatically fantasizing and hoping they can come true by having Kelly Pavlik now put him to sleep.
But no, I know you.
And guess what? And hold up. Now you gotta remember. When you look at this fight again, and I ask all the audience and everybody that's looking at this, you gotta push up the Kelly Pavlik Bernard Hopkins fight, or Bernard Hopkins and Kelly Pavlik, and you'll see me telling him in the corner, because I knew it would happen. Don't let this fight destroy you.
Yeah.
Because you're a fighter. They fed you lies about my skills declining. You just got a lesson and an ass whooping at the same time. When I'm saying, if you look at the fight seriously, come up later and say, B, we just checked, you was over there, you went over the corner, you was talking to him for like 4 or 5 minutes. They had to pull me away, and I'm telling him, don't let, and guess what that fight did? That fight took him to alcohol. That fight took him to, depending on, and again, I'm not knocking anybody's struggle or anything. I heard he's doing good. He got some kind of podcast or some kind of boxing.
Sure.
But listen, he'll tell you, Kelly Pavlik will tell you, I've seen him one time since we fought at an event. And he went straight to drinking because the handlers lied to him. The managers lied to him. The trainers lied to him. Everybody lied. And I'm saying it. They know what they lied to him about? Is
you
that I was done.
Yeah.
That you see what Jermaine Teller did. They didn't tell him the truth. And he wasn't intelligent enough either to see, like, wait a minute, I don't think Jermaine really beat him. He never questioned it. Most of us don't. I was just a strange guy in a different world that ain't used to being asked questions, but I did. And when you do that, they know that you are conscious. So how can we discredit this? It reminds me of Malcolm X coming up in his era. It reminds me of people of common sense and enough gil, enough heart, enough mindset, enough education, enough knowing what they're talking about becomes a major threat. And that can cover sports and everything. And so to discredit me was the first agenda. To beat me was the bonus. I mean, really beat me was the bonus. That was the bonus. We got him out now. Because no more interviews. Nobody wants to talk to a loser. Yeah. If they do, they want to say, well, what happened, Bernard, and this and that, what happened? So you got to remember, I can't take all the credit. I don't believe in the spirit. I believe in Allah. I believe that's bigger than that. I believe that I am protected from a lot of entities here on earth, and also in what I believe in my faith. So those things together, in my work ethics, and not laying in the bed or on the couch with a remote control saying, I'm going to ask for this and this is going to happen. No, I went out and put the work. My deal with not just the universe. My deal is I pick the work in. I'm going to pick the work in, whether it's physical, whether it's business, I put the work in, and whatever I can't control, I ask Allah. I ask subhanahu Allah. I ask Allah to protect me from those who plot against me every day. Every day, that's the prayer Fajr, the first prayer that starts the 5 prayers a day. You must understand that they will never beat me and discourage me. They would never have me feel I'm defeated, even if it's a business loss, a physical sport loss, or anything that they feel that they can say, we got them. Nah. My history, before I became a Hall of Famer, before I became a contender, before I became the undisputed, don't they understand I had a bigger fight within myself being who I became? Let me say that again. Before I became the Hall of Famer, before I became undisputed, before I became a contender, before I became manager of the year, only 2 fighters in boxing history, George Foreman and Bernard Hopkins. They don't want to say that, but y'all said it early in this interview. Because you know why they don't want to promote that? And I'm not asking to pat me on my back. I'm not asking. I got good advice, and I had to make the decision that was crucial to my life. That's why I got that. They didn't want to give it to me, but they had to, because I turned down Roy Jones Jr. and got more, and not only a partnership and a friendship and a loyalty ship with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotion, which is giving them hell today on a promotional side. So let me tell you something. Am I crazy, or am I crazy as a fox? I'm going to say that again. Am I crazy, like they tell y'all, or I'm crazy as a fox? Make your choice.
Let me ask you this, Bernard. I'm going to just say this real quick. You do deserve credit for being only 2 to be Fighter of the Year and Manager of the Year. But I want to say this, Bernard. Man, your story is just so legendary. Do you have any idea of where you could tell the public when this documentary is going to come to fruition, to where we can all capture the history of Bernard Hopkins?
We're looking to do the book first, which is the most thing that starts everything, that comes off that springs off that. Anybody that's hearing this will tell you he's on point with that. The book, then a documentary. I'll say the 2024, the summer, probably the tail end of 2024. But the book is so important first, because that dictates everything, springs off that. Because listen, when people, and listen, you got books, you got computer, you can read it, you can have it read to you. You can listen to it like audio. There's a lot of things that's being worked out, the direction, how it's going to be audio and book or book and audio. And then once that gets there and people read it, now they're going to be fed with good history and knowledge of what in the past and now. That's all going to be done in a category order to go to where it go. And that's not my coming. That's the people that's behind the scenes that's handling these things and letting me know what they know, because that's what they do. And it makes sense to me. Let's do the book and everything springboard off of that.
That's good stuff, man. We're looking forward to it. Hey, how are you on time? We had a few things we wanted to hit before we let you go. You good? All right, we'll take a quick commercial break. We'll come back. We'll touch on a few more things before we let you on your way.
We all have battles. We fight. We train. We work. We persevere. And we celebrate. We are all one.
I can't do anything if I can't walk in my prosthetic. It's a lot of pain that I feel throughout my day. It can be very intense. Now I just put that balm over it and it will heal up much faster and it will let the callus recover. That's amazing. It is a total game changer. I am hooked. I am absolutely, I'm just hooked.
Life is hard. KO makes it better. KOCBD.com.
KOCBD.com. Use the discount code TSB10. Pain relief, recovery, anxiety, sleep. These guys are the best in the business. We appreciate our homies over at KO Therapeutics.
Let me say this real quick, Jay, because I wanted to get this question in, but when Bernard started talking about, just the history of, everything, I got to get this in because you brought up, you hit some nuggets, and I got this nugget for you. I know against Felix Trinidad, right? That was your crowning moment, in my opinion. I can't speak for you. I'm saying in my opinion. I felt that was the fight that you had more to prove, in my opinion. With you giving us your assessment of everything that went on with you and Jermaine Taylor, and then you having to fight Kelly Pavlik. I want to ask you this, Bernard. Were you more, because I know you're smart, first off, because you wouldn't be Hall of Fame if you wasn't. But were you more angry going into that Kelly Pavlik fight than you were going into the Felix Trinidad fight?
I was more angry going into the Tito fight. Why?
Yeah.
Because the disrespect that I was receiving, being the lead champion, my belts was on the line before Graham Joppy lost his, Keith Foam lost his, and of course I had the IBF. And I felt that the title defenses that I had compared to everyone else in this tournament, I wasn't being respected through press conferences from New York City to Philadelphia to Miami, and of course, Puerto Rico. And let's understand that I've been in Puerto Rico multiple times. I'm here talking to y'all. They love me. They came out, the villages, people was talking, they respecting, they reminded me, the older ones, the younger ones, is understanding what the history is. And they received me very well, and I received them. I even went to 2 prisons there. And I always used to thank Paco, the president of the WBO, who took me through these places, neighborhoods and towns of San Juan, Puerto Rico. But let me tell you about the disrespect. So I told Kerry Davis, and I told Mark Taffet, and I also told at that time to Lou DiBella, I feel like I'm being disrespected. Matter of fact, I know I'm being disrespected. But why? Trinidad is Trinidad, undefeated, of course, whatever. Just got past Oscar De La Hoya on a decision. I feel I'm the guy to beat. I'm not going to play second to nobody, and I'm not going to play second to Trinidad. So what happened is they did it the opposite way of what I was concerned about from day one, because I knew that they're going to want me mentally to play second or third and think I was going to ride with that from different cities and not say nothing. So I set the stage early and put the flag down in New York City.
Yeah.
And they tried to keep it a little quiet a little bit, and then it came back up after an agreement was broken. And that agreement was that once that happened in New York, they asked me to apologize. I declined. If y'all want to go, we still can go. Even if some of my guys don't want to go, they don't have to. And there was 2 of them that didn't want to go. And I gave them a choice, but I wasn't going to apologize. We can leave Philadelphia and go right to Florida. We was leaving New York, and then we can go to San Juan from Florida. So I held my ground. They said, okay. We went to San Juan. Hostility all over the place, like it expected. And all hell broke out at the Roberto Coliseum.
Yeah.
Because of what? Because
you.
of what?
You.
Tito, let me finish. But Tito and I had an agreement based on they got us together in Philly. Don't instigate it again. Nobody mentioned it. Tito went by the script. Didn't mention it in Philly. Didn't mention it in Miami. But he mentioned it at the Roberto Coliseum. So that was a chance for me to be like, oh, be a good boy, sit on my hands, like the teachers used to say, sit on your hands in school. That's what they told me all the time. I said, okay, he's home. We in the hood, right across the street. He's trying to call my bluff. Now, I looked at it like this. We're in Philadelphia. I'm out of my neighborhood, and the guy in that neighborhood or that section of the city is known like me. Do I pay homage to him, or do I go over and start a conflict, and that is punch him in the mouth, or at that time, do something disrespectful? There's all a risk. Everything is a chance you take, but you gotta have some craziness, but you also gotta have you also gotta have some insurance that this gotta happen by any means necessary. So when I seen him break the rule, based on not breaking the rule for at least 2 cities, Philly, Miami, you broke the rules in San Juan because you home. Yep. That ain't gonna save you. So everybody started going crazy. 5,000-6,000 people. It was sort of pet rally for Tito in the Coliseum. And like I tell a story when the story is really gonna be told in 2024. I've wrestled. Google it. The flag out of Don King hand. He was putting up a fight for it, but I'm a little younger. And I ripped it from his hand, his right hand. And it had to hit the ground, man. And all hell broke out. But one thing for sure, there's no way in the world I should have got out of San Juan and thinking that Tito was going to win when the fight was going to happen. So that drama, then you got 9/11. Don't you understand just with the Tito fight and the footage that my guy Joe Lair has, because he was the camcorder guy that I had for years filming every detail. When I trained with Mackie Showstone down in New Orleans at Katrina, going to 9th Ward, looking at possibly bodies underneath the rubble. I have all this content. So now you got 3 episodes that happen just in a Tito fight. That's a story itself.
Yeah.
I'm blocks away from the gym when 9/11 had. You can see the smoke out my window at the St. Regis Hotel in Lower Manhattan.
Mm.
We trapped in New York for like a week. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Tito was giving flowers out, which is, understandable, and doing all the things that he can show that you got to do something while you're there. So he's visiting all the fire stations because he lost a lot of firemen there. And I'm like, okay, what's happening to the fight? Because I want to know, like, I'm one of those dudes that this fight is not going to get canceled. So who's going to let they quote unquote guard down and get in the relaxed mode mentally, physically, and anything else that motivates you to stay up? And I stayed up. So I said, hold up. I said, hold up, brother Nazim. Lord bless his soul and his deeds.
Yeah, rest in peace.
I said, Nazim, and he said this. Google Nazim up, and he got this interview because we have it now already. Nazim said in an interview, you know what this joker, this how Nazim talk. You've been interviewed Nazim many times. He said, you know what this joker told us? Let's go to Harlem. They're not bombing Harlem. This is 2 days after 9/11. We don't know if the fight's going to happen or not. This is what Bernard said. This was at the interview when the fight was rescheduled. It was rescheduled and not canceled. But I already got out of New York when they opened the bridges up. 9 days later, I'm in Philly training. We got back down because we took Don van. Don never knew we took his van. He cussing everybody out. So Kelly Swanson, who y'all everybody know, was working for me at the time. No, Kelly Swanson was working for Don King.
Yeah, DK, yeah.
Then I hired her after I beat the tournament. She became my publicist about 10 years. Seriously. So look, and she'll tell you this. So, because I'm going to need her to talk about her little role at that moment. You understand what I'm saying? While I mentioned Kelly Swanson, you already know. She's already been, she's always been talked about and also aware of it. So listen. So Nazim said, this joker said, let's go to Harlem. They're not bombing Harlem. This is the mentality I had. Now, some was jumping on, oh, he ain't had no kid, he didn't care about. No, it ain't about that. This is that mindset that the spit bucket and everybody, we can disagree and we have to agree. This is the thing that nobody, and I will let nobody break. This mental runs everything. Without the mental, and Ryan can testimony to that also, and anybody else that understands, this is the strongest, but the most smallest muscle you can use is the brain and the mental and things that work up here in this machine. You can get your body in your six-pack. You can do all this stuff. You can look like Tony Atlas. But if this mental ain't right, and you step up to the plate and you look apart, but this here ain't in connection with everything else that looks great on the outside. But this here been tested multiple times before boxing. And guess what? Once I figured that out, I said you got to protect the mental, you got to exercise the mental, and you got to stay as calm under pressure when others, injustifiably so, react emotionally. Ooh. And when you act that way and say reckless things and get to the point where you can't back it up, then you become a victim. So I established that with Tito, and his country reminded him every day, get a Diablo, they was calling me. My name was Diablo. My name was Diablo from time that it happened. This is what I heard. Even from Puerto Rico. Man. Hey, listen, listen, Danny Garcia will tell you. I mean, he's from Philly, but that's what we laugh about it now, but we talk. His father will tell you about it. They Puerto Rican, we think they was happy too, but B, you Philly, man, you had to do what you had to do. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you and say, like most people that's racist, one of my best friends is Puerto Rican. No, they're not. But it is what it is.
One of my best friends.
I had to do what I had to do. And if you need to blame it on somebody, then Don King told me to do it. But I know for a fact that the disrespectful, even after that fight, that you didn't even ask me, but I knew you want to hear it. Where is my fucking trophy? The Sugar Ray Robinson 6 foot, hundreds of $1,000s made by a famous artist, and only 2 people have it. Because I realized when I went to Don King house in Florida after the fight, didn't sign, but he did, bring me out there to talk to me. I recognized the Sugar Ray Robinson trophy like this. Oh, it was the trophy that was already pre-done, pre-scripted with Tito name on there.
Wow.
Yo.
Oh,
I
man.
stayed in New York for a whole week.
That's
During, as they say, media row, right? Bullshit. You know what that was? They had to find the guy, the famous artist's name on it. I ain't going to hack his name up, but it's there. I can get that to you. They had to get him to redo it. I didn't get it that night. You got to remember, if you go back to history, you will see that fight. You will see that was promoted as who win this fight gets the Sugar Ray Robinson bronze.
Wow.
Statue. Real weigh a couple hundred pounds. Joint ain't no joke. That big in the ring. Ray Robinson to the details of the eyes. Everything is cold. I got it in my office. So listen. So I spotted that. I said, yo, ain't that the trophy over there? Oh, no, come on, man. Hey. I said, yo, that's his. Then it's a week later. I'm in New York. They got me on the Kelly Regis show. They got me here. They got me here. They keeping me there until the trophy get done. They disrespected the champ so much.
Wow.
They already premeditated what's going to happen. And this is another episode of how B-Hop, the executioner, the alien, how the system got beat by one man with multiple help behind it. They can't see. And so these are the things that others can make up, but I got facts, I got audio, I got documentation, I got so much stuff that I kept. Why did you keep this, Mr. Hopkins? I said, because one day I knew, didn't know what day, that I'm going to be telling my story based on showing you and not speaking about it unless you ask me.
Yep.
That is someone that knew where he was going to wind up one day in spite of the bullshit and be able to tell it in a way that is unorthodox. What that is, I kept showing you. Now let's talk about it. So here I'm showing you stuff. And if you're a storyteller and you listening to a story from those who do that for a living, and now they got content and then they're asking you questions verbatim, and now you're explaining only what they're asking you, it makes it even more intriguing. It makes it even more exciting. It makes it even more a story of redemption and truth. And right now, I think people want to hear, not only hear, but they want to see, they want to be built up to now let you talk about it after the fact. It's much easier than talking about it and not having backup content to be able to say, you ask me questions after you look at these things that's 15 years, 19 years, 20 years, 25 years. You got audio talking about the things you became before you became it. Like these things, you can't just say that this was something lucky.
Yep.
That's a hater that's telling you that. Somebody to tell you something that you got more than one story or more than one conversation about multiple things that happened, and they still thinking it's something that you're very lucky. These are this is the nonsense of bad energy that I don't say walk from, I say run.
Jeez.
Because it's really contagious. It's called hater virus.
Wear a mask.
Like literally.
Or wear a mask.
Hater. No, you don't need a mask for this. No, what you need feet to run. You don't need a motherfucking mask. You need feet to run. It's called a hater virus, and there's no cure for it. It's like this is worse than a major herpes.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you don't know. Well, okay,
both of those sound
maybe we can tell them that you better not catch it.
I don't want you. Well, damn, that conversation turned left real quick. B, I had a couple questions, man. Just kind of getting back on track a little bit. A couple Texas kids. Virgil, I know he had to put out his fight for health reasons. I know it's documented. He's got an ongoing. Now I'm forgetting the name of the condition, but still, is Virgil okay based on what you know? Are we going to see him again? Are we going to see him on that route?
Of course. Yeah, we're going to see him again. We're going to see Virgil in the summer.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It's April. I mean, he's going to see Virgil. But listen, man, first of all, not just being young, because you could be sick and you could be young, or you could have an issue and you could be young. But Virgil wants to get back in the ring very, very soon. And he'll get back in the ring when not only his physician and people that know that he's ready to go, but trust me, Virgil will be in the ring in the summer.
That's good.
He's chopping at the bit, man. He's ready to go. He's ready to go. And look, these are the things that he's going to be able to tell his story.
Sure.
About delays that he have no control of, that he just got to happen. Because look, I'd rather have him 100% healthy than go in the ring not healthy and then say that he wasn't healthy.
Yep.
I'd rather have him go in the ring healthy than go in the ring and not healthy and then have to explain that he wasn't. I mean, to me, that's when I think you lose credibility. The second option is a credibility loss that you can't recover from.
Yeah.
Take the time, get it straight, and go in there with vengeance. You know what I mean? To know that you wanted to be in front of the fans as much as you could have. At least two fights ago. You know, we could have squeezed them in by now, but look, let's get past this and go ahead and steamroll them going into 2024.
That's good stuff. I just want to make sure that that's not, you know, sometimes you hear these conditions where they can linger for a long, long time. And just, you know, I hope we get to see him back at the peak that we know he can get to.
Yeah.
And then Corey, I don't know if were you going to ask something? I heard you say
something.
Oh,
yeah. No. I do have a question. Well, before you do that, because I know we're going to talk about him for a second, I want to bring up Blair Cobbs. Is he still Golden Boy?
He right now, Blair Cobbs, we have an option on him, but right now is a discussion about whether we give him a release or not. But he's still obligated to us based on contract. And again, I'm doing all I can with not only Eric Gomez but also with Blair, and I will be out west very soon, of course, for the fight Saturday, and to engage a little bit more, because I want to look. Blair needs to be in the ring and do what he needs to do, but Golden Boy is not going to hold him up. I can tell you this right now: Golden Boy is not going to stop and hold Blair Cobbs up. You have Blair Cobbs' number. You can call Blair Cobbs at any time y'all want. I can put a text out to him and say y'all want to talk to him before the big weekend come, because everything will get squashed out because the fight is taking all attention from everybody. So it could be before and after. But right now, Blair Cobbs is still having conversations with the next fight with Golden Boy.
I love it. That's good to know, man. And then obviously we have Kid Austin on the undercard. He's on the prelims for next week's pay-per-view, Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia fight. How you feeling about Kid Austin? I know the hopes are big. I know he didn't get to finish last time and he took some criticism and all that. When are we, he's ready for the big names. What are y'all's thoughts on Kid Austin?
The last fight, loved it.
Yeah,
First of all, know why I love the last fight? It has nothing to do, the skills, we all know that. I can talk about that all day and it gets boring. Not boring for me, but to the audience and people know. We know he can fight. We know he has the talent. We want to see him grow. We want to see him fight better quality, this and that. Got you. That's going to happen. The last fight was a fight that I looked at and seeing him had to figure it out within himself and then execute it as the fight went on without getting frustrated, which it would have been mostly what most people would have thought and expected, but it didn't. And he learned from that. Any fighter that's in a position of championship or undisputed, female or male, had many of those fights where they had to figure it out before they became on the radar of the experts of boxing, future champion, future Hall of Famer, future undisputed, and any other accolades that come with that title. Kid Austin, to me, became a man, not because he knocked him out, because it didn't happen, not because that he won every round looking great, but most of the rounds, if not 80% of them, he won. I seen him make adjustments here, which is mentally, and then I seen him make the adjustments physically. Under this super fight with Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis is another lesson and another experience under these lights, those lights, and the crowd, the hype.
Yep.
This is now the final touches to the next level. I'm going to say that again. This is the final touches based on this fight coming up to the next level. Because he's seen the lights, but he's going to see more lights. He's seen the hype. He's going to feel more hype. This thing is on another level based on the hype, the atmosphere, the setting, the interviews.
Yeah.
This getting ready for the next big step that's going to be taken after he wins this fight. And let me tell you, a lot of champions in that division that know Kid Austin is not excited the way we are. When I say we, I'm not saying y'all, and I'm not saying y'all not. Golden Boy Promotion, his fans, his family, his dad. Kid Austin is evolving right now to that superstar fighter that Oscar De La Hoya discovered when he started following Kid Austin, and we wound up signing Kid Austin shortly after. The world of boxing and the fans of boxing now is starting to see a guy that's called Kid Austin, fight by fight, starting on this super fight coming up, become a man in a lot of ways.
Okay.
In a lot of ways. I need to figure out how do we transform that name from Kid to Man Austin. Because hold up. I'm not trying to change anybody. I'm just throwing it out there. Hopefully they listening. There's going to come a minute real soon, and I'm predicting this with no crystal ball, that we got to find out like he's smashing men and we still call him Kid. Think about it. These are the things that is not a big worry, but these are the things that I'm saying be aware of his development. Be aware of his execution of those opponents, those champions that he's going to face, those top contenders that he's facing, these that he's going to face. These are the stepping stones that build character, experience, and everything else to take you to that next level. I'm excited to see him on this card. I'm excited to see him fight at a time where people is going to be in the damn building.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be another crucial lesson of the environment and how you operate like you still in your gym at home. But you're amongst 10 plus thousands of people hollering and screaming. Trust me.
Different world.
It's a difference. It's a difference. If athletes want to be honest with you, they'll tell you. Now, you get used to it if you're in that moment every now and then, more than, a couple of times. But it's still something to see when you step out of that dressing room and you walk towards that ring and you get in the ring and you just look around and you see everybody hollering and you focus, it's time.
Okay, so Bernard, question. Y'all have Alex Rocha on Golden
Yes.
Boy. I can't speak facts on this, but I see Alex Rocha got a fight coming up when he was in the mandatory position to fight Terrence Crawford for his WBO. Is that telling us, the fans, that they paid Alex Rocha step aside money and this fight with Spence and Crawford is going to happen? Because anybody who's in that position to become world champion not going to turn that down unless they got paid some step aside money. Is that the case with Alex Rocha?
Well, that was the leading suggested to do that, to get it over with months ago. I think we talked about one of the possibilities of that. But you got the sanctioning bodies too, who's being fair. Nobody's being like, you got to do this, you got to do this, because Terrence would have been stripped or at least threatened to be in that situation. There are still ongoing conversations with that. I want to see Spence and Crawford, but our guys got to be taken care of because he's number one contender. He worked his way up there. He did the things he's supposed to do to get there. And it will look kind of foolish for us to not protect our interests, and our interest is our guy, Rocha. So until these things, sooner than later, get situated where now, if we're going to accept step aside money, Rocha, then it's step aside money. We be on the undercard. We'll show our talent. That's part of the deal. We ain't going to step aside and not be active ourselves, because that doesn't hurt. That doesn't help our guy, Rocha. So not only step aside, but also let y'all know, whoever win this fight, we next.
Yeah.
We next, based on the mandatory, based on the sanctioning body, WBA, WBO, WBC, but we know what sanctioning body it is. So these are the factors. Hold up. And this ain't giving up nothing that anybody in boxing might not be an expert, but they know that this is how things go. But what don't normally happen when you have representation not looking out for their guy and realizing that their guy's left out in the cold, holding the bag with nothing in it, and waiting for a shot that had already worked his way up to be number one contender, to be the mandatory. Listen, I've been through this situation so many times, but I never been offered step aside money. You remember I had 20 defenses. 8 or 9 of those defenses, I've been in the same dilemma. Trust me, I consider myself an expert. Now, I know you're going to have some haters. Yes, I'm an expert. 20 defenses, I could say 8 or 9 of those been in that situation. And then sometimes I went in there and took way undervalued to get it over with and shut them up and now get the big thing at the end, and I've done that. But that's me. So you will hear an announcement on Rocha, whether he's getting that option, whether to be on an undercard, step aside money first, and on an undercard of possibly, if that fight happens, then that's already going to be in the works, because one can't happen without the other one, unless sanctioning body says they can do what they want to do dealing with that, and we got to handle our business the way we handle our business, because nobody is going to handle our business better than we. We don't look for nobody to take up for us, and they sure look up for us to take care of them. And I'm talking about, when I say that, I'm talking about sanctioning bodies and promoters.
Got it, man.
He's going to get his shot. He's going to get his shot, and and we ain't backing off that, and we damn sure ain't going to sit there and let people walk, or let the system or let the powers that be walk over and think we sleep at the table. So
yeah, because this is a big
difference between making us sleep at the table, and then y'all are also fans of boxing too. So you're not just going to get in the way of making the biggest fight happen. And I'm talking about Spence and Crawford there. You know what I mean? So you're pulling on all the levers, making sure everybody gets taken care of, including the fans.
First, it has to be
Rocha.
Our due diligence for Rocha.
For sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's our client.
Yeah, because if I'm Rocha, I could give a damn about Earl Spence and Terrence.
Well, you think he do?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I'm him, I don't give a damn about that big fight. I'm in the number one position. I don't give a damn if it's Miss No.
Exactly.
This fight.
Listen, as far as Rocha is thinking, right, is I'm in the same position. I might not have their names. I might not have the support of whether this fight's going to be on that magnitude, but that's not from him to debate.
No.
He earned getting that mandatory. And guess what? You got to understand this. And I know y'all do, but I'm going to say this again. Not only Rocha is in position to come out of this thing great either way, but it's more a burden that we show our adversaries, the boxing world, that we handling our business.
Facts.
Yeah.
And you have to understand the whole scheme of things on how you move. How you move on certain situations dictate to others how the pigeons will feast off you and how they will come like the vultures that they can be if you show one daylight of weakness, unprofessionalism, and amateurs at the table. So when you make a rush decision or emotional decision, you leave a crack for those who looking for a crack of light to expose that to you, to everyone else, and also to our future champions that we haven't even signed yet.
Yeah, I'm with you, Bernard. This is called prize fighting, right? We all, look, you definitely want to be a world champion and make a legacy. But at the end of the day, you want to make enough money to take care of your family. Spence versus Crawford is a multi-million-dollar fight. If I'm Alex Rocha, I can't speak for Golden Boy because we got Golden Boy, a part owner of Golden Boy on here. But if I'm Alex Rocha, they're going to have to pay me my money.
Oh, you got to get the bag.
Yeah.
You got to get the bag. There's no question. You got to get the bag because this is a customary in our sport. You got to get the bag. I mean, even in other sports, think about it. If they want a guy from over at the Knicks to come over in Boston, they pay.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't swap. The contract is different. Hold up. The contract is different. The green is different.
The greenery.
The greenery. Thank you. There's no different than our sports. We got different angle. We got different, conversations, the way we talk. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. What are you doing for me that I can do for you?
Right.
Yep. Hey, this is the last thought I had for the day. I know it's Sunday, and again, we're very grateful to have you on here, man. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it. We know the week ahead of you is going to be busy. I want to go back to Zudo. I want to go back to Rosado, and then obviously back to Bully. We saw Sudo and Rosado were supposed to have a fight. Sudo didn't make weight. So the first half of that question is, what's going on with Zudo? What are those conversations? What can you share about, what these conversations look like with the future of Zudo Ramirez? And then what can we expect from the Beck to Bully rematch? I'm sure he wants to get that revenge from that third round knockout against Rosado the first time around.
First of all, Zotto has to get this right.
Yeah.
Also have to get his whole outlook on, do you really want to do this? If you really want to do this, just saying it is not going to, first of all, I'm going to speak for me first, and I know me and Oscar's talked about it. He got to show us, man. He got to show us. Right now, he should be in the showing business right now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even talk. You got to say you feel good. No more long interviews. This now go in there and do what you have to do. But first, you have to show us. You have to show us that you committed. You have to show us that you are recharged and you understand the embarrassment that you brought to yourself.
Yep.
Because, listen, let me remind you, Zotto. And I like the young fighter. I really think he got talent that can go way past what he's looking like right now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's me speaking.
Mm-hmm.
He has to actually do it. This is a doing business. And right now, there's 3 question marks. Can, will, or not. Let's see. Because it's up to him. The ball is in his court. Because right now, you ain't looking good.
Yep.
And guess what? It ain't his fault. There's no babying. There's no giving. You have to earn. See, when you earn things, you have a different perspective how you treat things. And right now, he have to earn our trust. He have to earn the fans' trust.
Yep.
And then he have to earn history trust.
Yep.
Now let's talk about the bully and Rosado. See, Rosado don't turn down his collar like he don't turn down challenges. This fight is a get-back fight for the bully. To me, this fight is just as dangerous as the fight that happened even when the bully got knocked out. Now, what that says, that they looked at it as a lucky punch. Okay. Can Rosado get another lucky punch in? Rosado been under my tutor for over 10 years, been in camp with me about 9 of my fights. Yeah, Rosado's been around me, watched me eat, was told, was taking lessons, sparred, ran, exercised, worked out. He always will be a live dog. Rosado will always be a live dog until the dog stop fighting.
Facts.
Rosado is going to be in for a tough one, especially if he doesn't get a similar or the same punch or any other things that he's working on with Freddie Roach. Because he's going to need that and some. Because of the rematch, because of the redemption for the bully, and because of what? Most people believe it was a lucky punch.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was or not, Rosado's going to have to be ready to repeat if he want to continue to box further into his retirement. What better way retirement and to retire this way with
Yeah.
another victory over the bully. That's what Rosado said to me. If I'm going to retire this year, what better way to retire is to knock out a guy I already knocked out that I can beat? I said, all right. I said, my thing is that I didn't want the fight. Why? Because I know it's going to be a fight that Rosado can get a loss, or it's a fight that I feel that he can get if he get a fight. This bully fight be the second fight. Because of what Zotto did, I felt that he deserved, and again, not saying he didn't get it, because that's what he wanted. He override me, and I'm cool with that. I wanted to, based on what Zotto had done and disrespected Rosado in boxing, or boxing and Rosado.
Sure.
I want to reward him with 2 fights. Give him a fight that he has to be honest with, not a stiff. And for those out there, yes, I know that's a harsh word. There's some stiffs out there that shouldn't be boxing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you said that.
I'm thinking we'll be transparent. Let's be transparent. I wanted to reward him. Rosado said, no, they pay me enough, and I know I can beat this guy. I get us through the rematch. But I can. No, I want to give, but I can't be a manager and a promoter. It's a conflict of interest. So again, I know I did it well for me, manager of the year, me and George Foreman, but I had to step back. Hey, listen, can you understand? Sometimes I can get sucked into something and I gotta be conscious and grab I gotta take my hand out of the goddamn lines. I can't snatch it. I'm gonna have a nub. I gotta eat it. I said, okay, all right, Rosado. See, because my thing is, again, put the emotions to the side. I told you about him being under my tutoring for many years in camp and things like that. Know all the people in my camp. And he learned a lot because he's a great listener. But he knows what he wants. I supported him like I supported him when Zotto didn't make weight. And I talked to Rosado and his mom and his family. And I said, no matter what you do, ask him. It's out there. No matter what you do in your decisions, I support you. Whether you fight him at 80 or high 70s, I'll support you. Whatever you do.
Yeah.
But no, let me
I want to reward him with 2 fights and get the bully on a second one and call it a night.
This is my last question right here, Bernard.
But that's respect to Rosado, though. That's respect to Rosado.
No doubt about it.
Nobody put a gun to his head. Nobody forced him. That's the respect, and that's the heart, and that's the confidence that Rosado has. He don't care who it is. They ain't a weight class. They're fighting where he's comfortable, where his weight has been. Let's do it. He take on anybody, and he will be remembered like that.
Hey, Bernard, this is my last question for you because I know you got to go. You got to get ready for tomorrow. But you brought up a word, stiff, right? And speaking of that, because we respect you. Any real boxing fan gonna respect Bernard, the executioner, the alien, now the biggest instigator in boxing, Hopkins. Anybody who do their due diligence on the sport gonna respect you. And I want you to know this before I say this. I respect all fighters who get inside that square circle because it takes a man's man to do that.
Facts.
But when you have a stiff,
I don't respect every fighter step in the ring.
Okay. Well, let me say this then. I don't respect this one dude who had a career. Well, let me ask you this first before I lead to that. Do you feel like you get the credit you deserve out of your city in Philadelphia? But the reason why I say that,
yes and no. Yes and no.
Let me say this.
It all depends on what it is. The people you talk to is different.
let me say this. The reason why I say that, love Joe Frazier. Oh, got nothing but respect for him. But it's nobody who has the credentials as a Bernard Hopkins. Where's the statue in Philadelphia of Bernard Hopkins?
You know, I don't.
That's disrespectful to me, Bernard.
But I get it. But listen, there's so many damn statues in Philadelphia. I'm looking. Listen. I'm looking at a whole bunch of faces, a whole bunch of people that I don't even know, and there's so much old statue. You got the biggest lie, Christopher Columbus. I can't even get his damn name right. Christopher Columbus. They got all kinds of damn statues out there, right? My thing is, I don't want to be another statue. This is what we do. Can you replace it with the modern, like everything else is being replaced? Hopefully, for some of these things, like I said, replaced it for good, in a good taste and good reason. It's steady instead of getting Bernard Hopkins a statue. This with the city is really, really, because I got a lot of respect in the cities, but you always got some quote unquote non-believers. So Philly do respect me, but non-believers. And I know I ain't answer it right away, but this ties into what I'm ready to say. I was asked by a high-ranked councilman who's running for mayor named Alan Domb, D-O-M-B, Alan Domb. And questions was asked because I support him, even in his mayor race coming up, amongst a whole bunch of African-American candidates. And why haven't it been a statue talked about you way before when he was councilman for 2 terms? Even the mayor, John Street, 10 years ago, I was asked that. And John Street was a former mayor, 2 terms, 8 years. I said, there's a lot of statues. Statues don't talk. Statues don't build a generation that's coming behind the generation that's now. Statue doesn't have any knowledge other than the image of idol worshiping. How you remember me is what affect people now. So let's take the Joe Frazier gym that's in political limbo on Broad and Columbia Avenue. And take other abandoned buildings that we are looking at from the city that's holding them. Broad and Glenwood, Joe Frazier, excuse me. And take these shells that the city has and build what they call community awareness on choices. Eat to live, not to die, which means that you got choices of this particular food that certain areas in the city is used to, can afford, been brought up through other generations, passed down to them. Give them choices, not demand that they do this, not tell them they do this, give them choices. Have fitness centers, have this. See, I come up in a city where they had PAL, P-A-L, Philadelphia. A boxing league that I was under, or Philadelphia Athletic League, and take these things. And I'm working behind the scenes. You brought it up. I didn't bring it up to y'all before the interview, but I'm telling you how I'm working behind the scenes. I'm not making a plea, saying it now, but they the things that when I was asked by those 2 people, as currently as last year, that I really don't want a statue. I do have a partner with other fighters, Vinny Briscoe, myself, Joe Frazier, boxing running trail that goes 3.5 miles. Yes, 33rd and Diamond, which I grew up when I was younger at 25th and Diamond, with all our pictures up. Nobody put graffitis on it. Nobody graffiti, so respect. It's been up there close to 2.5 years, almost 3. Still there when I ride past. But this is what I would say if somebody asked me this, like in the future. And I'm not saying that I'm not appreciative of those conversations. And I know a lot of Holyfield has one in Atlanta, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Oscar has one down in near the Staples Center in LA. And yes, it's a great honor, it's a great gesture. But if you asking me, I want something that's going to every day have an effect on a community. Then another statue in a prominent area where most of people that look like me can't see it unless they go certain places to see it. And that's probably downtown where they want it to be, even if I have the choice or not. I would say if I had a choice between a statue or doing something that can help people every day that might not have the talent that Bernard had, or might not wind up being the greatest basketball player or anything dealing with sports, but they want to be a lawyer or they want to be inspired to be a doctor, physician, or any of these things, they has to have a place, a safe haven place, a place they can learn if they're not getting at home. That look, every now and then it's great, it's good to eat green food. It's good to eat things that it's not loaded up with sugar and all kinds of stuff that they not taught the knowledge of what it can do later. And these are the things that I know that can be done, but getting the people to do it, you must have stamina. You must have not only the right people ears to listen to what you say. So, but if they do it and I'm aware of it later, I can't stop that. But I think they will want, like I've heard before, they will want my blessings on it. And I would flip it on them in a good way of, I have another idea, and I have done that, as I explained to y'all. So yeah, I respect the gesture, but at the same token, I'll be more proud of something that I could say that kids are going in there every day, after school, definitely in the summer, and that doesn't mean killing going to stop. That doesn't mean that drugs is not going to stop. That stuff is going to be here till the world stays here. But at least I give them a choice to be out there or to be in here. That's the key. They got a choice to be out there or to be here.
Yeah, I like it, man. That's what it's about.
So tell them to hold off on that statue. I know Spitbuckler's working on something.
Yeah, we have a statue with us in the background. No, man, but we appreciate it again, Bernard. We know it's Sunday. We know it's the last the calm before the storm, like you was telling us earlier, before the crazy week. But man, we appreciate you carving out time and allowing us to kick off fight week for Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. Safe travels this week. Craig, anything you want to close out with, bro?
No, just much appreciation, man. It's always an honor and a salute to talk. Not you legendary to us in boxing, but getting to know you as a man, as a human being. That's even more legendary, because a lot of fighters you get to see what they do inside the ring, but getting to know you outside the ring, Bernard, and to knowing the type of humility you got, especially for people who look like me and you, it's just outstanding, bro, and we appreciate that.
No problem, man. No problem. And look, I don't know if y'all going to be out there or when y'all leaving to be out there, but it's going to be a fight that we're going to be talking about. Whatever happens for a long time, I believe this is the type of talent, and also the 2 young men that's going undefeated. Everybody, take a look at this fight and remember this fight and learn from the fight. If you're a fighter that wants to be great, this is a start to be great. Peace.
See you later, brother. Appreciate it, man. We'll see you
All right.
soon. All right, Corey. Let's take a quick break and then we'll close out, dude.
Already.
Yes, sir.
All right, listen up, guys. We're calling all Little League coaches. We're calling all middle school coaches. Calling all high school coaches. We're calling out all those team mamas. If you need team uniforms, if you need jerseys, accessories, whatever gear you're looking for the team, please check out our friends over at Elite Sportswear. These guys do it all, and they do it great. So if you're needing a brand new look for the younger athletes, for the teams, do me a favor, trust us with Elite Sportswear. These guys do all of our gear here at Spit Bucket Podcast, hats, shirts, hoodies. We could not be more pleased with them. So check them out over at thebetteruniform.com. You can find them on Facebook at The Better Uniform or on Instagram, Elite Sportswear 17. That's Elite Sportswear 17 on Instagram. Again, if you want your team looking super fly on game days, do yourself a favor, do the squad a favor. Call Roderick and the team over at Elite Sportswear ASAP. Let them know the Spit Bucket Podcast sent you.
Elite Sportswear. We appreciate our fellas out there, our friends out there. Check them out at thebetteruniform.com. Yeah, big shout out to the folks out there. But man, hell of an interview from Bernard. Do you expect anything less?
Man, nothing less, man. When I say that dude's a stand-up individual, and he give you a lot of nuggets and just his perspective in life and in boxing, incredible.
Facts, man, facts. Well, dog, we're 2 hours into this, so let's go ahead and wrap it up, man. But just before we go, big shout out to our sponsors, KOCBD.com, Carroll Therapeutics, Elite Sportswear. Big shout out to Bernard Hopkins. And guys, y'all tune in tomorrow. We got the son of a legend and the Showtime executive, Alexis Arguello Jr. He's right there involved with all the fight planning, all the behind the scenes, the all access, that sort of deal for not only Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, but all the big PBC Showtime cards. So he will be joining us tomorrow night at 7. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to talk a lot of good, crazy, cool stories about what it was like growing up with Alexis Arguello as your pops. So that'll be fun. But man, shout out to the chat today. You guys were keeping it busy today as well. Great, appreciate you, bro. And rest up, and we'll see you tomorrow, dog.
Salute.
Have a good night, homie. This is JJ Solomon.
This Corey Bradshaw, Mr. RTD, and Mr. These boys can't touch me on my worst day. This is the Spit Bucket Podcast.